Yay. And I'm live. I believe I am live. Just check here. Yes, okay, great. Hi. And welcome to my page and to this live stream. My name is Judy V. I'm the originator of the Codex system, a structural model of human function and behavior. And today I'm going to make this live stream extremely practical. Because I spoke recently, a few days ago, earlier this week, about AI consciousness, about the AI consciousness debate, about Richard Dawkins and his recent article about Claude and the question of whether advanced AI may be conscious. But today I want to bring it down a bit, bring it down a notch, bring it down a level. I want to bring the conversation out of theory and into a place where people are actually using AI every single day. Because people are no longer using AI to write captions or plan content or summarize documents or organize information. They're using it more and more to understand themselves, to ask it about their patterns. They ask it about why they keep choosing the same kind of relationships, or why they freeze when someone challenges them, or why they cannot relax when there's nothing urgent happening, or why they get irritated with a partner. They ask it why they feel strange after seeing a certain family member, or get irritated for any particular reason. And they keep checking time, keep checking their phone, or they ask why they say yes to things that they mean no to. They ask about what their wound is, what their block is. They even ask it, they even use it as an oracle, like what their future should be. AI answers, often very eloquently, very beautifully, very clearly. It gives language, it gives structure, it gives a clean response that sounds like it understands. And that's where the trap begins. And this is what I want to focus on today. Because AI can sound accurate, it can sound intelligent, it can sound calm and logical and wise, and it does actually sound like you. And when something describes you better than most humans around you ever have, the temptation is to treat that description as truth. And this is what I want us to pull the curtain back on today. Because the accuracy is not the same as change. A description can feel correct and still leave the same pattern running. And this is what AI does phenomenally. It's what it's designed for. It describes patterns. That is what it is. That is what it is expert at. Describes patterns. It does not, cannot, will not, and does not mean it has changed the pattern. A beautiful explanation can still leave you in the same place. Insight, awareness, understanding, all of it still leaves you in the same place. And I want you to hear that. I want you to listen to that, because this is where most people get caught. And it's happening faster and faster and more every single day. You can sit on your sofa at night with one eye on the TV and ask AI why you keep feeling resentful in your relationship. And it gives you a beautiful or a brilliant answer. It will tell you about being over responsible or having your needs unmet. It will tell you about your childhood conditioning. It tells you that you may be carrying too much emotional labor. It may even give you a sentence to say. You will feel seen. And in that moment, you will feel clearer. You feel as if something has finally been named. Then the next morning, your partner leaves the kitchen in a mess, or makes a comment in that tone, or forgets the thing they said they would do. And the same response moves through you, the same tightening, the same internal speech, the same coldness, the same loneliness, the same performance of being fine, the same argument in your head, essentially the same old output. So what changed? The words changed. The description improved. The pattern did what it already knew how to do. And this is the distinction. Feeling understood is not the same as being free from the loop. And this is where AI has become extremely seductive and addictive, because it can keep giving you better and better language for the same thing. You can ask it again and again. You can refine the prompt. You can say, go deeper. You can say, explain this from a nervous system perspective. Explain it from an attachment perspective, or from childhood perspective, or inner child perspective, inner child wounds perspective, from childhood trauma. Explain it from spirituality, or explain this spirituality, and it will willingly. It will keep producing more language. And the answer may well, and the likelihood is, sound more sophisticated every time. But then life happens. A text arrives from someone who always pulls you into obligation. And your chest tightens before you've even fully opened it fully. A client will ask for something extra, and you immediately begin calculating how to make it work. Or your adult child speaks to you in a way that takes you straight back into guilt. Someone in your family makes a small comment, and your whole body starts preparing for defense. But even the flip side, you receive good news, and you still look for what could go wrong. You get a quiet afternoon and immediately fill it because stillness feels suspicious. You promise yourself you will not explain, and then you find yourself sending a long message anyway. And that is the level that I'm talking about. The pattern is already moving before you have a theory about it. So AI may describe it afterwards. A coach may name it afterwards. A therapist may help you understand it afterwards. A spiritual teaching may give it a larger meaning afterwards. But the output had already begun. The behavior, the pattern had already begun. So the question is no longer, did it sound accurate? That bar is too low. The better question is, did anything change under pressure? Did the same situation produce a different response with the beautiful feedback? Did your body choose differently before you had time to explain yourself? Did the old sentence stay unsent? Did the old apology fail to come out of your mouth? Did the same comment fail to pull you into the same old collapse? Did the same silence stop feeling like rejection? Or did the demand fail to recruit your whole system? And this is where you begin to know whether something has changed. Because insight is very good at making a person feel close to change. It does give relief, and it does give shape. It gives a moment of order. And sometimes that moment is useful. I'm not dismissing language. I'm not dismissing understanding. I'm just putting it where it belongs. I'm placing it accurately where it belongs. Language can describe what happened. It does not automatically alter what will happen next time. That is the part that almost no one wants to look at. Because, and here's the reason, there is great comfort in understanding yourself. There is comfort in having name for things. We are wired for that. We have been conditioned for that because we have to know. If we don't know, we're not in control because we have to be in control. And I can go on another whole hour or more about that. There's comfort in understanding yourself. There's comfort in having name for things. There's comfort in saying, oh, that is my abandonment wound, or this is my nervous system, or this is my people-pleasing trait. This is my trauma response. There's comfort in being able to say those things because the naming gives it a feeling of progress. It gives us a feeling of being in control. But if the same thing happens again tomorrow, the description did not reach what was running it. If the same thing happens tomorrow, it'll happen again the day after tomorrow, at the weekend, next week, next month, next year, next decade. This is not only an AI problem. AI is just making it faster, prettier, and more accessible. It's making it more obvious at a rate of speed that's just crazy. People have been in this same trap for years. Through therapy, coaching, spirituality, healing, personal development books, podcasts, workshops, retreats, assessments, personality types, attachment styles, nervous system language, endless explanations of why they are. Better language, same output. And that is why so many people feel now more than ever intelligent, aware, insightful, yet stuck. Because they're very often, but highly aware of their behavior, of the loops, of the patterns, can explain themselves with extraordinary precision, explain where the pattern comes from, can even tell you what age it began. They can tell you who it reminds them of, what it has cost them. They can tell you they can actually tell you what they should do instead. And then the situation arrives and something faster than understanding takes over. That is the real problem. The pattern does not wait for your explanation. It runs before the explanation arrives. And this is why Codex does not begin with what you can explain. It looks at what keeps happening before you explain it. By the time you say, I did it again, the system has already run. By the time you can describe the shutdown, the compliance, the irritation, the trigger, the resentment, or the collapse, the old route has already completed. So the examination has to happen earlier, before the explanation, before the story, before the output appears, before the output happens, before it materializes, actualizes. And this is where Codex works. It looks at the root. What does your system do when pressure enters? What is already moving before you say, this is my pattern? That is the level that most models miss. They arrive after the behavior, after the emotion has been named, and after the story has been formed. Codex looks earlier. And this is why right now the AI conversation is so important, because it's revealing something uncomfortable. And that is that language can sound conscious, insightful, and phenomenally, crazily, sometimes even illogically accurate, deeply accurate. And the same life can still keep happening. This is not about blaming AI. AI is a tool, a phenomenal tool. It can organize thoughts and reflect language, but the danger begins when you start treating accurate language as authority, especially about yourself. Remember, it is a system with no lived consequence. A system with no lived consequence that can still give you a sentence that feels like truth. And if you mistake that sentence for change, you may become more attached to the explanation than to the evidence of your life. And this is where people are getting trapped. More language, more meaning, more analysis, but yet the same output. So there's a clean test. Look at the repeated output. Look at the thing that still happens after you understand it. The conversation that keeps going the same way. The family dynamic that still pulls you in. The anger that still rises before the facts are clear. Or the collapse that still happens after a certain tone of voice. The spending that still happens when you feel unseen. Or the busyness that still appears the moment life gets quiet. The explanation may well be brilliant, but the output tells the truth, and that is the turning point. The output is what tells the truth. That is the evidence. So if you're using AI to understand yourself, use this question. Did it change what happens under pressure? Because if it only gave you better language, see that clearly, see it for what it is. That does not make the language useless. It simply means the language is not the intervention. The intervention has to reach what is running before language appears. And that is the distinction that Codex brings. A pattern is not ended because you can name it. Or understand it. Or describe it. A loop is not interrupted because you can describe it. And a life does not reorganize because a paragraph felt accurate. Something has to change at the level producing the output. So when someone says, I know exactly what this is, but I still do it, I do not hear mystery. I hear evidence. The knowing has not reached the place where the sequence is being generated. That's all. Nothing dramatic. No endless search for another explanation. The work has been happening too late. And this is why I wanted to make this conversation simpler. Because the first version of this live that I did the other day went into the bigger AI consciousness debate. And today I want you to take one thing. Accurate language is not proof of change. AI can explain you. A coach can explain you. A therapist can explain you. A spiritual model can explain you. You can explain yourself. The question remains, what keeps happening? And this is where the examination begins. And that is why I created the Codex system. This is what we work with inside the Cosmic Tribe. And over the past couple of years, over 100 people have moved through the Cosmic Tribe. And the reason that matters is because we're not working with theory. We are watching what changes when the repeated output is addressed beneath the description layer. Cosmic Tribe is not a place where people come to collect more insight. It's not a place where we keep analyzing the story or refining the wound or naming the pattern or turning behavior into another identity. Cosmic Tribe is where the repeated output is examined at the level that generates it. The relationship response, the money response, the body response, the pressure response, the authority response. The place where someone can know exactly what is happening and still watch the same thing run again. That is the level that we address. That is what the Cosmic Tribe is. Because inside the Cosmic Tribe, we work with the body as the rooting layer. We look at what is happening before the explanation appears, before the compliance, before the withdrawal, before the compulsive over responsibility, before the same sentence comes out of your mouth again. This is why the changes people report inside Cosmic Tribe are not based on better motivation or more awareness, more self-awareness. They come from working beneath the description layer. And we have seen people report shifts in their bodies, relationships, money decisions, emotional responses, family dynamics, pressure responses, and repeated behaviors they had already spent years trying to understand. Because understanding was never the problem. The root was. So Cosmic Tribe exists for the person who has done enough explaining. The person who can name what keeps happening and is finished pretending that naming it is the same as ending it. And that is why entry into the Cosmic Tribe begins with a structural review. because you don't need another conversation about your patterns. We need to see what your system keeps routing, where the output keeps repeating, where the explanation has not reached the generating layer, where the body is still running the old sequence under pressure. That is the examination point. So if you can name what keeps happening in your life and it still keeps happening, that is where we begin. And that is what a structural review is for. From there, the correct route becomes clear. And for many people, that route is cosmic tribe. Because the question is not whether you understand yourself. The question is what your system keeps routing, and that is the work. So if you would love a structural review, let me know in the comments, and I'll put a link into applying for a structural review in the comments as well. Until next time, have a brilliant day.